And welcome back, everyone. Pre-recorded pre-recorded for Tuesday on a Monday. We got Who Would Win from Matthew 777, and it is Gogeta versus Yukari Yakumo from, I believe, the name of the game series. It is mostly a game series, from what I understand. From the game series, what's the series' name again? It's like Toho. One second here. Toho. What's the name of it? Appeared in Phasm Stage Boss, Perfect Cherry Blossom. What is the name of the damn series she's from again? Come on, one second. Powers, abilities, all that. Okay, powers. What's the name of her damn series? It's Toho, I think, right? Toho Project. That's what it is. Toho Project. And she's like one of the main characters. She's like a supremely powerful yokai, 1,200 years old. And she's kind of like one of the strongest beings in the verse. The question is, why are these guys paired up against each other? Well, actually, when learning what her abilities are, it can make complete sense based on a scene in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Obviously, Gogeta is the fusion of Vegeta and Goku through the Metamorian fusion, and it was used to fight Broly. Just going into Super Saiyan, they broke the freaking universe. They broke reality and kept breaking reality until they went Super Saiyan Blue and reset reality. That's how strong Gogeta was, and he barely was going all out either. So the question is then, why would you pair someone like this up with Gogeta? Well, it's because of what her ability actually is. Her ability is the ability to manipulate boundaries. What this means as an ability is simply this. She is able to manipulate the boundaries between two concepts. The most common application of this would be the ability to open gates, which act as portals between two places. Fair enough. Creating gaps through which she can pass through, or which anything can pass. However, there is more to this. Aside from this, she can control the boundaries in a more general sense, since nature of all things is defined by boundaries. For example, a lake can only exist as it is because there is a boundary between it and the atmosphere called water surface. Her ability can, in theory, be used to achieve a high amount of different effects, which, for example, would just break that. In general, she is stated to be capable of manipulating the boundaries between any and all things, but this is questionable, apparently, because of known exceptions. Specifically, she is not capable of creating gaps to the moon, which is inhabited by beings that are stated to be far superior to any yokai, including her, apparently. She is also not capable of manipulating any boundaries near the Mori Shrine, which has two gods as inhabitants. The specific reason that why these boundaries are exceptions are never fully explained and can only be speculated upon. Even though these exceptions are considerable, she is known to manipulate various fundamental boundaries, such as the boundaries between truth and falsehoods, reality and fantasy, human and yokai, life and death, awake and sleep, day and night, winter, spring, so forth and so on. She also has the ability of manipulation of Shikigami, which is another yokai ability resembling the computer programming of the outside world. The Shinki will carry out its master's order exactly as commanded. Her high intelligence, particularly with regard to manipulation numbers, makes her excel at calculations and analysis. However, there seems to be a flaw with her application. While she uses it to cover for her sleep habits, she seems to be limited to odd jobs and errands. There's also notable exceptions like weaknesses. She's apparently a super genius too. She can do complex calculations with thousands of variables in seconds. But she does have a couple minor weaknesses. She's lazy and rarely fights serious unless it's dire circumstances, and border manipulation can be overpowered. It may also not be strong enough to instantly reach specific areas, such as Celestial Heaven, as well as the Lunarian capital, wherever that is. Still, the idea of basically manipulating the boundaries between literally metaphysical concepts or just concepts in general. Dreams and reality, fantasy and reality, life and death, hot and cold. I like the two concepts. The question is, what does that manipulation actually entail? I'm not 100% sure what that means, but what it does kind of bring up for like her physicality is that she kind of can just nag off most like deadly abilities. Like she's even stated that she can, like things like shooting, cutting, all that kind of stuff is not really going to do anything to her because she is just able to blur those boundaries. And therefore not really be hurt in any significant way. She has stated that shooting, cutting, stabbing, hitting, and killing her is useless. She can likely take hits from basically universal level beings, theoretically. So this begs the question, who would win? Because they're both basically breaking down the borders of reality. Gogeta just is a much more of a warrior, more proactive. So the question just becomes, who wins in a fight? Well, Gogeta's definitely an individual who's strong enough to threaten her. Should also be noted that the Dragon Ball universe is probably, when we use that symbolic map, around 13 times the size of our own universe. We can assume that it's probably bigger than the universe of this world. That universe is probably roughly the same, minus, you got the heavens and stuff like that, but who knows the general concept. More than likely, it's either similar or smaller, because there's just not enough to kind of lean one way or the other. So now you're dealing with a character who already exists in a large universe and was shattering the reality of that universe just by fighting and just by trading blows and powering up, versus someone who can break down the borders of these realities but has limitations built in. And we know that apparently, as it's stated with one of her weaknesses, that her boundary manipulation can, in fact, be overpowered. So, by stronger beings. So the question just simply becomes then, is Gogeta one of those stronger beings? She can't create a portal to the moon because superior beings live on the moon. So is Gogeta one of those superior beings overall power output wise? See, the thing is, a lot of, like, I'm on the Omniversal Battle page right now, and let's be honest, some people rank these guys too high on this, definitely. In terms of what her strength level is, they list her at high Universal Plus, which actually would probably track. I watched a video when I was trying to YouTube it, and someone was scaling her just below Hyperversal. I'm like, I'm sorry, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And I only just read the basics, and I can already tell you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're overly wanking the character you like. But no, high Universal Plus definitely seems likely. But Vegeta, Goku on their own are high Universal, low Multiversal. We know Beerus still outranks them in terms of power. But if you're talking about their full power, they do scale to a low, and I mean a low, Multiversal. At the minimum, they are Universal Plus, certainly. But then you combine them together, well, now you've got an individual who's almost certainly now in the Multiversal range of power, at least minimum. And that really just means that their power would just, in sheer outright power, overrides her power. And that's all you kind of really need to determine the fight in this case. Yes, she can break the borders of down borders of whatever, manipulate those borders. Hypothetically, she could even do that on Gogeta, but his power should be enough that it just negates her power. And at that point, they're just wailing a beating on her. Sure, she says shooting, cutting, stabbing, hitting, and killing are useless against her. Except that's against with weaker foes trying to kill her, not a superior level power. Now, granted, she theoretically should not be able to die because she can just break down the board. She can manipulate the borders of her own life and death, so that should be fine to save her ass. But I don't see that helping her in this fight. Despite the fact there are characters that put Dragon Ball characters to shame in terms of power, and border manipulation is a weird and overly powerful power when you really think about the concepts behind that. I still would go Gogeta in this way, just because Gogeta is so up on that tier level of power that I don't think she reaches that echelon to be able to beat him in a confrontation. That said, I know I'm going to get flack for this video one way or another. I'm sure the people who like Yukari Yakumo are going to be like, you don't know what you're talking about. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like, and you might be 100% right. This is a character I didn't know anything about till today. So, look, if you got a complaint, just be civil about it. That's all I ask. You don't need to be a prick about it. And you're not going to hurt my feelings if you're a prick. You're just going to annoy me. That's all. That's the most you're going to get out of me. You're going to be annoying me. I'm like, why do you have to be a prick? Just tell me why you think I'm wrong, and we can all, it's all good. But why you got to talk to people like that? That's basically it. Why do you need to talk down to people and just be a jerk when you're behind the keyboard, but you're too much of a bitch to do it in real life? Oh, it's because people can't talk back to you. At least I'm protected by my invisible keyboard. Yeah, that really is the mentality of it. Anyway, I digress. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.